When programming the Intro 4 print from your packet, we're going to be using the facing block as well as a mill frame to create this part. We want to remove some material from the top of the part to establish a nice smooth zero face to program from. So the very first thing we want to do is we need to create a new program to be used with this print. So we're going to go to from the input screen, the program manager, new, in conversational program to create a new program. We'll then go back out to the input screen and we'll set up some stock geometry. Go to part setup, more, stock geometry. We're going to answer yes that we want to manually size our stock, and we begin to fill out the information as it appears. 4.126 is the size of the stock in X. In Y it's 4.88 and it's 1 inch in thickness. That's the final thickness. I'm going to make this 1.125. I wanted to create a piece of stock a little bit larger than what it is I'm going to machine. Let's go back to the input screen. Now let's set up some tools for this particular job. Go to Tool Review, Tool Setup. I'm going to start with Tool 4, and it says we need an 11/16 center cutting end mill. So I will select the type of tool, and 11 divided by 16, get my diameter. Tool length is something I can skip for now. That will be set on the machine later. Set my coolant condition, some speeds and feeds, and this particular print also calls for a 3-inch face mill. So let's set that up as tool number 5. We select face mill from the pull down list. It's 3 inches. We'll also set some coolant. And we'll set up some information as far as speeds, feeds, and number of teeth. Now, this particular tool is called out as a 3-inch by 45 degree face mill. If I select the More tab and I go to Advanced Tool Settings, I can now begin to enter in a little bit more information than I could from the main screen. The shank diameter, the main diameter, the length of the tool, but more importantly, what is the angle on the inserts? We said it's 45 degrees. It's very important that I fill out this information as accurately as I can, because once I create the program and I hit draw, I want my draw solid to look as close to the real thing as possible. One of the other fields asks for tool nose radius. Let's assume we're using a 31 thousandths radius tool. So now I can hit exit. It takes me back to the main screen for this particular tool, and you can see that there is information that I was able to enter that doesn't appear on this first screen. Now let's go back to the input screen and we can begin to write the program. Go to Part Programming. Now, first thing I want to do is I want to face off the top of this block. I'm going to do that by milling and milling a face. Just like the mill frame, I enter the information for the corner, and in this case I'm going to make it the bottom left corner of the part, or 0, 0. The length would be the same as my stock, 4.126, and 4.88 in my Y. I'm machining off, in the case, this example case, I'm taking 1/8 of an inch of material off the top of the part. So I want to start at least 1/8 of an inch above. So I'm going to go 0.15, a little bit more. But when I'm done, when I completed this block, I want the top of the part to be Z0. So I'm going to leave the Z bottom at 0. I'll come down and select my tool. I know it was tool 5. And I want to cut in a zigzag or bidirectional method in the x-axis. So I'll select X bidirectional. Speeds and feeds came in for me. I really don't need to pec this, but I do need to put in some kind of plunge feed. Now, if I go to the draw button, I hit draw options and I draw, you see very quickly that the tool ran. If I look at it in show all, let's look at it in wireframe to see it a little more closely. You see that I have a zigzag pattern that would create what I need for this particular part. However, we didn't see anything happen to the top of the part. The reason for that is if I go back to the part setup and stock geometry, I have told the tool to go down to the Z0 and face off at 0. In this instance, the control assumes the top of the stock to be Z0. If I'm milling to 0, the top of the stock is 0, there's nothing for graphics to display. Well, I actually have 1/8 of an inch extra material added into my Z length of my stock geometry, so I need to do something using these reference positions. I want to lift the stock up by 1/8 of an inch, 0.125 positive. Now, if I go back and hit the draw button, draw options, and draw, you can see that there was material that the control could see sticking up above 0, and it was able to show me that in graphics now when it removed it. So let's go back to input part programming. We've done our mill face. Let's hit the next block, and then let's mill the frame pocket that is necessary. Just like milling, frame, we begin to fill out the information. Well, one of the corners, bottom left corner of the frame, looks like the X value is 0.313 and the Y value is 1.5. We have a 3.5 X length, we have a 1.88 Y length. We'll wrap it to 100 thousandths above the part perhaps, and we'll give it a final depth off of the right hand view there of minus 0.38. The corner radiuses are 0.38. That is larger than the tool radius, so I will put that in so we're forming that radius. And we'll use tool number 4, which I remember being the tool that we set up, and we're going to do this as a pocket. So I pull down the menu, select pocket boundary, complete the rest of the information that it's asking for, pec depth, and a feed plunge. Hit the draw again, draw options, and draw, and you can see that we now have not only faced the top of the part, but we've cut the appropriate frame in the center.